What is up, everyone? This is going to be my Amumu jungle video, and I'm going to go over everything you need to know on how to play, one of the best junglers in lower rank. So for Amumu jungle, he's very strong right now. There are a few ways to play him. You can go into, like more tankier, or we got to skedaddle. Hold on a second. Or you can go into more AP damage. Usually I go for like a mix of going Liandry's Rush. You can go Sunfire Rush as well, but these two are your two core items, right? So most likely I'm going to start Liandry's this game. Interesting, level 1. And we're just going to go from there. So starting W is always the best on Amumu. You always want to start W level 1. You're going to be maxing E and then either Q or W. It's up to you. For runes, Conqueror with Ultimate Hunter and Cheap Shot feels very strong. So that's what we're going to be doing. And I really like Cut Down plus Ability Haste. I think Cut Down rune is very OP right now. So that's what we're going to be. We're going to be playing in Diamond 1. So in these games, I'm against Xin Zhao. So I think Xin Zhao might invade me. So what I want to do is start Raptor solo. So he doesn't know where I'm starting. But more importantly, I just want to do this so I can just do my red, right? And we talked about my videos. You always want to sort of, you just want to sort of play towards your red side early if you're against a cheesy jungler. Like if I'm going to get cheese by Xin Zhao, it's more likely going to be on my red buff at level 3. And if I have my red buff, then I'm just more likely to survive, right? So you always want to save your smite for the red buff, because Amumu E is actually really good for, when there's multiple things hitting you. And your W, you always want to kind of turn it off so you're not wasting mana. And just turn it on and off every now and then. Mechanics wise, your auto attack applies your passive. This passive is really broken. So you always have to kind of, you just have to be aware it applies on your R and applies on your R attack. So when you want to kill someone, you have to get that first auto off before you kind of want to, use your abilities on them. So here I see Xin Zhao and I see the way he's moving, right? So I see him going right? Because that is sort of how the vision is working. So that kind of gives me confidence that, okay, he's not going to invade me. So I'm just going to, full clear with no worries, right? So you always think about that. If he was invading me, I would probably just like be careful more. And I always like to do wolves and then go into my red after. And there are mechanics to Amumu. The funny ones is you can always auto attack in that Q animation. Also, you can R flash and Q flash, which is really important to do. That's kind of what you want to kind of play around. So those are sort of your mechanics that you can master on. And also for Amumu Q, you don't want to waste your second Q, right? When you're farming, just keep it at 1. And once it fully stacks, you can keep 2 Qs. Then you use your second Q, but you're using it to go between camps, not necessarily using it to kind of like kill people, okay? Or sorry, you're not really using it to help you clear your jungle all that much, right? So just make sure you have at least 1 charge at every time. Here I have 2. I'm always going to keep it like that and just kind of chill, right? Early game, not much going on. I'm going to base, and then I'm going to buy this component. This component is what speeds up your clear by a lot. And this is what you want to aim for. It's like a slow early game. Get level 4. Get your, faded ashes. And now go straight back to where we started, right? So if we start solo Raptor, what happens in the game, right? Solo Raptor, if you start solo, it spawns again at 4 minutes. Remember, 4 minutes. You see the timer, and it's up. That's why we want to be aware of timers. If Xin Zhao starts red buff and he does Krug level 2, this will spawn at 420, right? So just remember how it works. So if Xin Zhao started red and it's 420, he wants to be in this area right now. So I can just kind of have that information in my head. Unless I saw him spending a bunch of time ganking, usually he'll be there for his Krug. But here we can see then we bot really wants to fight, right? So if they want to fight, that's just important for me to be in this area. My goal right now is to just keep farming and then see how Xin Zhao plays this situation. Because I think Xin Zhao will kind of do something crazy. And then we can play around that. So here they're going really deep. So that's just good for me. Keep chasing. Hit that Q, auto attack, E. And I'm very strong, right? Because I have my buy right now. So I'm feeling pretty good. And we're going to go for the blitz as well. So always auto attack. And beautifully done by us, right? Like, go for the counter plays, yes, but don't be the one forcing like the super aggressive plays. And here we have our base. We can go for our boots too. Personally, I think CDR boots is generally my go-to. So I'm going to go CDR boots. You can go tankier boots like Armor Boots is fine too. And Merc Treads is good too, but I really like Cedar Boots because we're going to be rushing an item that doesn't give us ability haste. So we need ability haste because our R is really... After 6, you're playing for your ulti, right? So it's very important. Also, remember, you can always W in your Q animation. So you see how I can always W at any time. Just remember, always, if you're fighting, have your W on, right? And if you're not fighting, just turn your W off, right? It's just you're crying, like his tears, right? Here, I have 2 charges. I'm going to my second camp. Okay. I'll activate my W, and we're good to go. And here, I'm just farming and playing for the Void Grubs. Why am I doing this? Because my pathing is taking me that way, right? A lot of times you're just always... The answer is always because this is where the pathing is taking me. And I'm not going to break my path because if I break my pathing, it's extremely bad. And it can hurt my game dramatically. So I smited the minion there. I got 6, so I'm very happy with that situation. Now you'll be like, Inori, why aren't you doing Void Grubs? Well, actually, just because... This Xin Zhao is, you know, I'm just trying to teach him a little lesson right now. So I just want to educate this Xin Zhao on Amumu tech. I think he will go for the Gromp here. So I'm going to just whip out a Q in a second. Yeah, I think he's given up on that dream. I'm going to go for the crabs here now. Without R, there's no guarantee on like plays I can be doing, right? If my R is down, then I'm not going to be doing like objectives like Dragon right now. Like it's not the time for that stuff, right? Like I'm just taking the crab. I'm obviously asserting my Mumu body, my thick, juicy body all over that Xin Zhao. I'm not going to let them get the crab, right? I saw him crossing mid. Amumu is really good against armor attack damage champions because your E gives you damage reduction on auto attacks. And when you get auto attacks, your E cooldown goes back down. So you just kind of shit on melee auto attack based champions. That's generally Amumu's power. AP champions, sort of similar to Rammus, but not as bad. AP champions are a bit of a problem for you. But melee Amumu is really good into, you know, like we talked about, these champions. And see, with Ultimate Hunter, we're having all our cooldown. Super short cooldown. And again, I'm just chasing the Jhin around the map, right? Like, I don't want him to be getting Void Grubs. I think I'm stronger than him. I should kill him if he goes for Void Grubs, so I'm not going to let him do it. If he's in the pit, then we kill him. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Unfortunately, I missed my first Q. You know, rookie mistake. It happens. So I'll have to gather the final one here. But I'm not the type to just forget things, you know? Xin Zhao, he probably wants these raptors that just spawned. But you know what? They're not his. They're mine. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. You see, he thought about it, right? He thought about these raptors. But he changed his mind there. And also, now you see, he's thinking about a solo dragon here, right? Like, am I going to let him do that dragon? Of course not. We're not going to let him do that. Here, I'm going to wait a bit out of vision to see if this guy trades. If not, then we're just going to go on the dragon. I have to be careful about Silas because he can steal Amumu R. Just getting him off the dragon is really good for me. And I'm like a pest, man. I'm annoying. I know I'm annoying. I know I don't need to R because, well, we have the damage to kill. If I needed to R there, I would R, but it just looked like it was not an R angle. Point blank stun, hit the first Q. If you hit the first Q, it's just, you know, you're pretty much guaranteed to kill these people. Right? I'm obviously super ahead. I'm just so goddamn ahead. And the Leandri's buy is really far away, but I'll see if I need to base, right? I don't have to base right now. I don't have to base right now. E range is really short, so you always have to be aware of it. But mostly what I want to do is clear one side of my jungle and then look to base. Like, I'm obviously playing really greedy right now. I advise you guys to base more often. But if you're healthy and you have like your conditions up, like your R is up, I don't necessarily feel like I need to base. I usually base because I feel like I'm really weak or I'm really unhealthy. I don't have, you know, the resources to really continue on. So here you can max W second or you can max Q second. It's really up to you. Very nicely done. I'm obviously the savior of my team. And now I have literally no resources. I have no health, no mana. My R is down. Now I also have a perfect base for Leandries. You already know. You already know. You already know. And this generally is the build for Amumu. Like, you can go Leandries first, or you can go Sunfire Rush as well. And the second item is generally Sunfire. This game, they're pretty much AD. They're AP heavy, actually. So I can decide on the second item what I really would like to go. You can go either Sunfire item, up to you, really. But I really prefer the Leandries rush first. Unless I'm against like a full AD team. Or if I'm against like a full AP team, you can just rush like the respective resist for your damage type. Xin Zhao got a shutdown. Good for him, though. Good for him. I thought this video would be boring because Xin Zhao just obviously completely dominated him every way possible. So I was worried it wouldn't be entertaining for you guys. But now that Xin Zhao got that shutdown, he's probably feeling kind of confident. He might actually, you know, focus up a bit. So that's good for us, right? That's good. And here, obviously, I'm super ahead. I have my Leandries by. It's a full clear timing, right? I don't know if Crab is gone, but I assume the Crab is probably gone. Also, I'm just going to clear and then go back to Void Grubs after my Raptor Camp. So, nothing really lost. And you can see how your E cooldown comes up very quickly. And again, I'm not super big on invading without, like, vision, right? Like, if I invade, I always sort of do it off of, like... I always sort of do it off of, you know, like, information and stuff. Headshot. You see how I'm kind of like always kind of like skirting the edge of it. Really play around, like, you know, just what exactly looks good for me. And when you max Q second, the cooldown goes down, the recharge time, which is really important. And generally just really nice bursts on it. So here I'm probably going to play for the Void Grabs. Sorry about that. Mumu is really good at Void Grabs. You just kind of want to stand where you can hit your E on everything. Tantrum. 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 He's really mad. But people fighting you on it is really difficult too, so you can always kind of play with that information in mind. And here I'm going to just finish off the Crab. I could invade him on his red buff. I don't really think it's even that important. Because I have my bot side up, so I want to play around that. A big thing for me, personally, is that, you know, I really play around my ability cooldowns. Like, my R cooldown is super important. Some champions, you can play less around something like their ultimate, but a Mumu, you do have to play around the R. So I don't do anything aggressive when my R is down. I still gank sometimes, but not as rarely, right? Because our goal is to kind of farm during the downtime where our R is not up. And if you play like this on a Amumu, like, you'll climb like pretty much like you've never climbed before. I think it's a really good champion. I think he's good for learning the game too, because he's not that simple as like you have to hit, you know, skill shots like Q. Make sure you auto before you use your E, and you can also use stuff like your R into like more, you know, chasing abilities. So I think he's a good beginner champ that teaches you the game quite well. Because he's not so brain dead where you can just how do I say? He's not so brain dead where get over here, Blitz. I'm quite slow, so I rely on other people a lot to slow them for me. You should have hooked me. Damn. 2 chances to hit my Q. 2 misses. That's just life, though. That's just how it is. Do I get discouraged because I miss a couple Qs? I should have took my time and slowed down when I was using them. It's very telegraphed when you use Q on a Amumu, right? So we do want to think about that a bit. And when we talked about similar to Volibear, you want Abyssal Mask is a broken MR item. If you're going this armor item, you always want like Abyssal Mask for MR. In fact, if your enemy team is really heavy on AP, I go Abyssal Mask much earlier. It's a very, very broken item. And if you really want more damage, Riftmaker is really good. But generally, you're always going for like tank items. Like Thornmail is a good armor item that I would recommend you going. Enemy team gave up, so I hope you guys liked that Amumu jungle video. Be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already. It was Diamond 1 MMR. So obviously the players knew the game was over once Inori's Amumu took control of the game. So good luck in the game, good luck on the climb. And yeah, goodbye.